moving on with our agenda. So next up, we have Ashley Goerger. Teach me your last name.
It's pronounced Goerger, like burger with a G.
Oh, okay. Is it like German origin or?
It is.
Okay. Well, wonderful.
The
Wonderful
O is
to have
silent.
you here.
Thank you.
I'm going to get out of your way listening. I'm going to listen to your insights on the other side, and then I'll join you for Q&A after.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Ashley Goerger. I am CMO at Tamr. We are a data company which uses AI to solve the hard problem of golden record creation. I have 20 years of experience in marketing at B2B tech companies, from small startups to large enterprises, but almost exclusively in the data and analytics space. So naturally, data is at the core of my playbooks for gathering customer insights and defining ICP in both qualitative and quantitative ways. We'll start with my playbook 1, which is collecting and analyzing quantitative data. We gather that data by collecting detailed marketing campaign data with channel, topic, offer, and then using analytics to filter that data by industry, by revenue band, by geo, and product or use case. What I feel is really important as a marketing leader is that you use that data to narrow down to a very focused ICP. Although I've always gotten a lot of pressure from the sales organization and executives to go broader when we're not seeing the pipeline we want, it is never the way to go. But as a marketing leader, I need that data to show why I am focusing in marketing and why as an organization we should be focusing across the board on what is actually going to make us win as a business. In looking at that data, some of the key insights we've found is that optimization at the top of the funnel against engagement or generating responses without looking at what's actually converting to revenue can be very dangerous. At multiple companies I've worked at, we've been able to generate a high level of interest in some specific industries, but when we looked at it at the end of the sales cycle, the loss rate was too high to justify continuing making those investments. Sometimes that was due to budget availability, where we were trying to sell into the SMB space, for example, and they just weren't able to come up with the budgets to purchase the software, even though they had a high level of interest. The other one is around specific industries, where sometimes we were just not able to close the deal based on a product fit issue against an industry requirement, like in healthcare or government. One of my key pieces of advice as a marketing leader who's worked in multiple SaaS companies, if my product wasn't built specifically for the requirements of healthcare or like the federal government, it's not my ICP and it's not going to be the best use of marketing investments, and I should really focus on other industries. Analyzing data. So some of the things we've changed recently is we're analyzing data on a quarterly basis against that early stage, late stage pipeline, as well as the closed won revenue, and slicing it by industry, revenue band, geo, and use case. It's really important that you don't look at the data week to week, I've found, and make any changes to your ICP, because you can get some fluctuations and signals that would lead you in the wrong direction. But the real trends emerge from those larger data sets, looking quarter to quarter, year over year. My caveat with this quantitative data playbook is that I've worked at really small startups that don't have a marketing operations system in place. They haven't been collecting this data over years, and they just you don't have the data to analyze. But I've still been asked by the executive team to come up with what is my ICP supposed to be. So in those cases, I've had to find a different way to get to that. One of the ways we've done that is to take ad campaigns and split them out into those revenue tiers, geos, industries, and test that same message against those different segments to see where it's resonating best. LinkedIn ad campaigns have been a fast way to get some of that data. And as I put the operations place to collect that quantitative data to analyze over time, at least be able to have that top of the funnel signal to be able to answer some of the core questions around how we would find our narrow ICP. My second playbook would be around leveraging intent data. So before you've even gotten that marketing campaign response, how do you look at the signals in the market to understand who's interested in you and where you should spend your time? We recently launched 6 Sense so we could leverage intent data to drive our outbound efforts rather than having our sales team focus on choosing target accounts and logos they wanted to target. Now, we've always known that financial services was our biggest target industry, but often we would see at the company that our ICP would fluctuate based on recently closed deals or positive prospect conversations. So sometimes we were focused on manufacturing, sometimes healthcare, sometimes retail. But when we de-anonymized our web traffic, we found that our ICP had changed. Financial services is still the top industry for me with 17% of my web traffic. But the other industries most interested in my content are actually software and technology companies that look like me. That was 9% of my traffic, but has not been an ICP that we'd really focused on previously. So how did that pay off? Now we're running targeted campaigns and outbound plays to see if we can turn that web traffic into leads and opportunities. With pain points driving the shift in our focus, we've been able to align sales and marketing teams on the same targets. So now marketing is warming up those accounts as our sales team is doing the targeted outreach to help increase those response rates, since they're already familiar with our brand and have a basic understanding of what we do. But as much as I love quantitative data, I found that qualitative details really, really matter. So my third playbook is around qualitative data, and we collect that at two key phases of the buying cycle. One is on newly closed deals. So before software is implemented, before we've gotten a value story to tell that customer success story, we implemented a process where we sit down with those new customers and ask them to talk to us about their Tamr journey during the sales process and why they chose us over a competitor or a status quo. Now, to be effective, I've found that it's really important that this is a neutral third party that's having the conversation. Typically throughout the sales process, a customer's built up a relationship with that sales rep or their sales leader, and they're not going to be completely honest with them. Or they're working day to day with a CSM that they're going to have that ongoing relationship with. So they're just not going to be as honest as they would if you have a neutral third party. I find somebody from product marketing works really well in that function. As we hear why somebody has bought our product in the customer's own words, not told through the lens of sales or from our product team, is really powerful in helping marketing understand which words to use to frame the business value we provide in a customer's own language. It also helps us reverse engineer which businesses have the same problem that we're uniquely positioned to solve and better understand our ICP beyond that industry level. But what is that characteristic of a business that makes it so that our product is particularly valuable to them? Maybe they're the types of organizations that have a lot of merger and acquisition activity. They grow through buying up those smaller companies. They've obviously got data then scattered around the place. That's going to be a key value prop that we can help solve. Not every company in that industry has that problem, but finding the ones that do is going to help us narrow that ICP. One of the other insights we found from one of these recent interviews was that our pricing model was actually so complex and confusing to people that it was causing issues in the negotiation process, and we were almost losing deals because the procurement team didn't understand when the deal got in front of them what they were signing off on. So what did we change? We simplified our pricing model to tiers. We published it on our website, and in less than 2 weeks, I could see that that page was our top 10 most visited pages, and really delivered against that customer insight and helps people both filter out, are they within the range that my product is going to solve with their budget? Yes, no, self-filter, but also help speed through that procurement process that's going to come at the end of the sale. My last piece is on building ongoing relationships. Whether you're a small company or a large organization, having some sort of customer advisory board is a great way to continue to collect that qualitative data. My last customer advisory board took place in July in Cambridge, and we had conversations with our customers that really showed me that we were underplaying our history and the fact that as a company, we've been using AI and machine learning for over 10 years. So while AI has become a really popular buzzword, for my company, it wasn't a me too or a trendy topic, but something that we could emphasize about our legacy and really own the space. Because in my customers' words, they were saying, you already do, you're already a leader here, but you're underplaying it. So as a data company, what did we change? We always try to take a data-driven approach. We took that feedback into our message and decided we would A/B test some different headlines on our website. We discussed different positioning options in that cab and then put them out on our website. And after 3 weeks, I could see our third iteration around AI meets human intelligence had an 82% likelihood of being the best option to become our messaging. And we leaned in and made that switch. We also created dedicated landing pages on our website that talked about our AI and machine learning capabilities. And those became one of my top 12 visited pages in a matter of months. So by leveraging those qualitative insights I got from my customers against that quantitative data, we were able to narrow our ICP and really focus across the organization on the areas where we are best positioned to win and improve our pipeline creation and win rates as a business.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ashley. A couple of follow-up questions on what you said, starting with the post-purchase interview. So you said it shouldn't be done by sales, should be like product marketing. Wouldn't there still be bias? Like, wouldn't they still feel like, I don't know if I can be honest, or because it's the same company?
Well, I find if they don't have that personal relationship, it's not the sales rep that they've grown to either love or hate, let's be honest. It could be one or the other. They don't have that piece. It's not that person they're knowing. As long as it's a neutral person within the company, I'm able to get more honest answers. I'm pretty sure that my customers would have never told the sales rep that your pricing is so complex, I almost didn't sign this deal, but they were willing to tell my product marketing team that, and I could action that insight.
Got it. And Delia is asking, what's the best timing for this interview? Like how many days after they sign?
We introduce it as part of that first CSM onboarding discussion, that it's a standard part of our process, and we try to schedule it between 2 weeks and 30 days after the deal closes. So it's not sprung on them the first week before they're even sort of getting those onboarding conversations going, but it's not so far removed from when the activity actually happened that they've sort of forgotten or glossed over some of the key details.
Gotcha. And Nana is asking, where do you capture the qualitative data from the post-purchase interview, and do you combine it with any other data sets?
We capture it in a good old-fashioned Google Sheet, but yes, we pull it into our HubSpot data so that we can see it as part of that larger customer record about the business, and we can then analyze that data more holistically.
How do you do that?
We add it in as a comments field and other fields within the company record within HubSpot.
And then what is is there like a summary of all the interviews somewhere automatically generated, or how does that work?
We pull it into a click application so that we can filter out, where we had high scores, low scores, and what were those pain points that are arising or the positives that we're seeing, and look at it across a broader data set. But also reading those qualitative comments, I think, is a key thing, not just looking at the broader data set, but reading the actual words they're saying. It conveys a lot of that emotional impact that you wouldn't get if you just looked at the broader data.
Yeah. What are some examples of the most insightful questions that elicit the best responses?
One of the key insights for us was around that pricing and negotiation piece, but also hearing that customers almost didn't look at us because their perception of us was that we were too expensive or too complex to implement. We do have roots, as a machine learning experiment that came out of MIT, and some of our early customers were very intense PhD data scientists, right? So I understood why they would have had that perception, particularly if they had engaged with the company early on, and looked for ways of how do I tell this story better and show that we've taken this technology that was originally created and battle tested with some of these really large organizations and repositioned it as a SaaS product that takes that learning and makes it accessible to a broader set of customers.
Sweet. Ashley, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's great to speak today.
All right, everybody give her a follow on LinkedIn, and then we'll keep on seeing her insights.